I'd like to thank everybody for coming this morning and taking time out of everybody's busy schedule to spend 4 to 5 hours with us going through this presentation this morning. What we're going to do this morning is we're going to talk I'm going to speak on 3 topics. I like to leave it open. If anybody has any questions, please feel free to interrupt me. I may or may not choose to answer your question at the time. That's my option. But I certainly will listen to you and maybe ignore you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Stu Morris. My firm, Morris Law Group, is a full-service estate planning asset protection firm here in Boca, with offices also in Aventura, Weston, and West Palm Beach. Due to a series of events, I am going to be your only speaker today, and we're going to still hit all 3 of those topics. So appreciate your attention. The other thing I wanted to say is thank everybody who participated in making a voluntary contribution to SOS Children's Village. Many of you may or may not know what SOS Children's Village is. It is a series of homes located right at the east exit of the Sawgrass in Coconut Creek that is a foster care system, for lack of a better word. What happens is there are certain children that have either been through the foster home system or whose parents have done untold abuse and neglect stories that we've seen, and SOS Children's Village brings them in. We have a capacity to hold up to 72 children, and the design at SOS Children's Village is to raise them until they graduate high school. We've had incredible success. We have actually had 4 college graduates, 3 of which became teachers, all around the state of Florida. The model is unbelievable. Most of these children that go there have never had a home before, and they're raised in a home-type setting with 6 children to a home. And generally, what we do is we raise siblings together, which is unusual in the foster care system, especially for permanent residents. We now have a group of 8 siblings, a group of 7 siblings, and 2 groups of 6 siblings that are all being raised as a family in SOS Children's Village. If anybody would like, I've been involved for about 6 years. I'm on the board of directors. If anybody would like more information about it, I'd be happy to discuss it with you and arrange a tour of the facility for you. They do incredible work there, and the results have shown through. And we've actually now even started to do an outreach program. Unfortunately, the state of Florida terminates all aid once the child reaches the age of 18, even if they haven't graduated from high school yet. So technically, in the foster care system, you'll see this a lot. If the kid is in the middle of his senior year of high school and he reaches the age of 18, he's kicked out of the foster care system. I don't know if I have a daughter that's 16, and I know a lot of other kids that are 18. Could you imagine if you just set them loose at the age of 18 to have to go live on their own and make their way? It's a horrible, horrible situation. SOS Children's Village keeps them until they graduate high school and then works with them to arrange them housing for college or for jobs and assist them in ongoing education, even the basic things like balancing a checkbook and buying a car and those kinds of things. So thank you all for everybody that participated. Next, we're going to talk about 3 different topics this morning. The first topic is choice of entity. This is becoming more and more complex as the rules change. I can go through a litany of initials of things you may have heard of and you may not have heard of, and then when we adapt that to the tax rules, the IRS has changed where they now let you take any legal entity and have it taxed like any other legal entity. So it becomes a very, very complex set of rules. I'm going to go through some general rules and some general things to look at when choosing an entity and how that selection should be made. The second issue we're going to talk about are the new trust code that went into effect July of 2007. It extremely broadens the number of people and the methodology of the accounting for trusts than we had previously. And many of you are going to be surprised. Does anybody in the room, are you a trustee of a trust? Anybody in the room trustee of a trust? A number of you. If you're not already familiar with it, you're going to be very, very surprised at the breadth and the obligations that you have of your duties under the trust. And finally, we're going to talk about, in particular, the design and drafting of irrevocable trusts and how they should be designed and what certain things and tunnels that we like to include in there. So those are the three main topics of the morning. How many people are receiving continuing education for insurance? Okay, watch very carefully. There we go. Okay, that's required for anybody receiving insurance education, and we've handled that. You all got it, right? Okay. Now, let's talk about entity selection, okay? The main options we're going to be talking about this morning are C corporations, S corporations, and partnerships and LLCs. By the way, if you want to follow along in the book that you have in front of you, it's behind the tab called Presentation. All the slides are present. Feel free to write notes, but more important, pay attention and listen to what I'm telling you. So you have C corporations, S corporations, partnerships, and LLCs. Those are the main options that you have and the main type of entities that we are using today. First, let's talk about C corporations. That was the original style of entity. That's the entity that the majority of publicly traded companies are. It's managed by a board of directors and owned by shareholders. Shareholders elect the board of directors, and the board of directors manage the company on a day-to-day basis by electing officers and employees. With a C corporation, you are allowed multi-levels of stock with different powers, different voting rights, different obligations, and different preferred type entities are available through the use of C corporations. The pros are that you can actually minimize the amount of taxes that you pay at the corporate level